New to me. All right, it's connecting. Okay. We're currently live on YouTube. It's connecting on the other two platforms also. So just give it a moment. Hey! Hey, 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 peeps. Give just a few moments to allow everyone to join. I'm so excited for the guests we have today. This is going to be good. And JJ on the mic. IG. Hey, hey, hey. Facebook is moving slow. Come on, Facebook. Catch up. Oh, give it just a moment. Okay. Give it a second. It's taking a moment to log on to the Facebook. So I'm closing that session out and restarting it. So it'll be up in
Okay.
just a moment. There it goes. Hey, hello everyone. So, as I was saying just a few moments ago, it was taking a moment to go ahead and log on to Facebook. I don't know why. But right now it's saying sending data. Hey to everyone joining via YouTube. Give us one moment while we deal with this little small technical difficulty. There we go. Hey. All right. And we are live on all three now. Let me go ahead and do a watch party for those who don't go on the business page. Okay. Hey, girl. So, so we started a little rocky, but
All right. You
we
know,
are back on
technology.
it. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so
Yes.
excited for our guest tonight. We have the amazing Jillian J.J. Simmons, phenomenal author, speaker, life coach extraordinaire. But instead of me sharing all about her, I'm going to give her the opportunity to to share about her. Just turn the volume down on the share page and you'll be okay.
I'm, I'm still learning. I'm so impressed by people who know how to do this stuff because, I mean, Facebook, Skype, Instagram. I'm like, geez. Yes, I am an author, written 3 books, Without Bruises, A Journey to Hope, Help, and Healing. Talks about my relationship with a sociopath and how I was able to overcome abuse. Respect My Crown is an affirmation journal that I released a few years ago. And then last year I released my latest book. Is called All Falls Down, a daily study of scripture to lift you up when life has knocked you down.
Yes.
And girl, I got like 12 jobs. I run a nonprofit organization, JJ's On Me Foundation. I'm a self-love coach. I'm a mama. That's my biggest
Yes.
job, my hardest job.
Right?
And I run a movement called Respect My Crown.
Yes, 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 yes. So I love this. And just so you all know, I have supported JJ. I have all three of her books. They're thebomb.com. Make sure you go over and get them as well at jjonthemic.com. I have it inside of our chat right now. And you can also follow her on Instagram at jjonthemic. Okay, people are already asking, what's the topic for tonight? We haven't said it yet, girl. You're going to see. Are y'all ready? That's the real thing. So tonight, what we are talking about is, drum roll please, 7 signs that your bae is a narcissist. Ooh. Now, let me start with a few weeks ago, we had a conversation about overcoming narcissistic abuse. And that live right there, it sparked conversation all across different platforms. I've had people DMing me, messaging, wanting to talk about it more because it was some things that they truly didn't know that that's the name. They didn't know how to put a name to it. So when they started getting information about overcoming it, they were like, oh, wait, I think my bae is a narcissist. So we had to come back and give you more information on it. So I decided we had to have JJ come and talk about it because she has done a phenomenal study on it simply because she's overcome it. And those are the best teachers. So JJ, why don't you just give a little bit of insight before we even go into details of the 7 signs that your bae is a narcissist? Just give a little bit of insight of how you came to the point of knowing what a narcissist is.
Oh, yeah. So the first time I dated a narcissist, I was totally clueless. I didn't know what emotional and mental abuse looked like. Mm-hmm. I also didn't know about the term narcissist. I didn't know about the term sociopath. I didn't know the difference between the two. And I was actually coming out of the relationship, and my dad, who was a retired police officer, pulled me to the side and said, you've been dating a sociopath. He's a narcissist, and you've been abused, and you need to get some help. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Because it's so insidious, you don't know it's happening, right? Until you feel like you are going crazy. And
something has to be wrong with you, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be me. So like, because I'm the one feeling this way. And I am an empath, so that means I take on other people's pain. And so, and narcissists love empaths. They're like, oh, you gonna take all of this from me and hold on to it and make it yours? Here you go. And so it's not uncommon for a person to find themselves in another abusive relationship when you haven't fully healed, or when you haven't really taken a look at those empath issues that you have, like not setting those boundaries. And so found myself in another relationship, maybe like almost 10 years later. And this time it was a person who was in ministry, and Jesus was involved, right? So it was like, oh, but he knows the word and he's praying for me. And I've had all the signs. And I obviously had all the tools because I've been through it before, but I just kept putting those little signs up under the rug and ignoring them. And then it hit like, oh snap, I have done it again. I found myself in a relationship with a narcissist, and this time I was able to heal so much quicker. Because I had the tools,
you recognized
right, from the beginning. Yeah.
And so what do you think? Do you feel like you intentionally chose to overlook those signs because of him being someone of, like, within the ministry?
Oh, yeah. And this person, we look so good together on paper. you know, we looked great together. This person had a nonprofit. I had a nonprofit. You know, this person liked to help kids. I like to help kids. You know, this person's in ministry. God told me I'm headed towards ministry. And it was just like, it was perfect. Which is one of the things we're going to talk about when we talk about the signs of a narcissist, is just how perfect and charming and charismatic they are. And how you really got to pay attention to those things.
Right. So let's jump into it. I see people already talking about, ooh, yeah, this is one of those. Grab your glass of wine if you need to and your notepad because this is going to be some good stuff. Before we even go into those 7 signs to look for, go ahead and hit the share button and bring other people to come in and join this conversation, because this is definitely something that needs to be talked about, especially amongst our culture, because I feel like we choose to ignore it simply because we don't know that that's what it is. So we just put it off, they're crazy, or something's actually wrong with me. And no, there's a label and they can get help, just like you can get help overcoming it. So let's go into the signs, JJ. What's sign number 1?
Sign number 1, blaming. You can't always be to blame for everything, okay? Like, think about this. In your relationship, are you always to blame? I remember a friend of mine telling me when she was dating this guy, he wrecked her car when he was backing out of the driveway. He hit the trash can. And when she's like, yo, you wrecked my car, he was like, well, if you didn't make me so angry, I wouldn't have wrecked your car. And exactly, that's the same look I had on my face. And I'm sure it's the same look she had on her face. Brother, you the one who wrecked the car.
Right.
I wasn't even in the car. So, like, knowing that you are always to blame for everything is a really big sign. Are they always pointing their finger at you no matter what, and never being accountable for their own actions? Okay. Oof. So put blame on the list. Oh,
I'm putting it right now. Number 1, blaming. You gotta get it.
Let me just give this disclaimer though before we go through the rest, because people, the term narcissist is like all over the place. And I want to be clear, there are people who have narcissistic qualities that aren't narcissistic. So when you take a look at this list of 7 things I'm going to give you, if they have 3 or more characteristics, then that is a red flag. And that's something you want to take a look at. But there are plenty of people walking this earth. I mean, goodness gracious. We all might have some type of narcissistic quality. Right. Especially now with social media, we all selfie, which could be very narcissistic. But there's a healthy narcissistic quality, and then there's a unhealthy, and we're talking about these unhealthy ones.
Yes. Okay. So just to make sure you all got that, we're not saying everyone's a narcissist, and we're also saying that all of us may have the qualities. But if you notice the person you're dating, or even any type of relationship, because it's not just the relationship like that includes you with a spouse. It can be relationships with family members, friends, co-working, different things like that. But if you recognize they have 3 or more of these signs, then that qualifies them as a narcissist. All right. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So number 1 is blaming. Is your nobody else's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 2, deflecting.
Yes.
So here's the difference. Deflecting could look like this. You bring up to the person that they hurt your feelings. Hey, when you said such and such, that really hurt my feelings. Well, remember the time that you said blah, 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 blah? That's deflecting, right? Like you totally dismissed everything that I just said and turned it back on me. Another way to deflect could be, and I hear this a lot, and I've witnessed this a lot in my own relationship, when they talk about your tone. Like if I bring something up, hey, you hurt my feelings, or when you did this, it made me feel this certain way. Hey, why are you talking to me like this? What's wrong with your tone? That's deflecting. Once again, I'm trying to talk about this.
Right.
And you over here about this. And what happens in abusive relationships, a lot of times they're deflecting so much, you really lose sight of what you were talking about. And then once again, you start to feel it must be my fault. Oh my gosh, you're right. I shouldn't have said that like that. I shouldn't have talked to this person that way. I shouldn't. And then you end up taking all of that on yourself. And like I said, it's so insidious. You miss it. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. But what happens is these conversations will happen over and over and over again. And they always end the same way. It's always on me.
Yeah.
It's always not acknowledging.
At the end of it, at the end of it, you to blame. It's your fault. You spoke to me crazy. It's your tone. Everything. I'm not taking no responsibility for nothing you're talking about. This is some good stuff. Some good stuff. So, number 1, blaming. Number 2, deflecting. What's number 3?
Gaslighting. Ooh, gaslighting. Oh my goodness. So, gaslighting, if you're not familiar with the term gaslighting and where it stems from, it came from this movie in 1944. There was this movie about a husband who wanted to divorce his wife. And back then, I guess it wasn't a good thing for you to divorce your wife. You had to have a really good reason. And so he made her feel like she was crazy, which is what gaslighting is. It's basically making you trying to gain power by making someone else question their own sanity or their own reality. And so what he would do is every time she would go to cook, he would blow out the pilot light. And so he, like one minute it's on and then she come back and then it's off and she's like, wait a minute.
Like she knows she turned it on. Yeah.
Like I know I turned it on. And if you're ever in a relationship where you are really just questioning, like, am I crazy? Am I tripping? And I mean, let me tell you, there were days where every day was like that. Every day I'm like, is this happening? Like, I know I'm not crazy.
Right.
Why are you talking to this girl on the phone at 3:00 in the morning? What are you talking about?
Right.
What are you talking to like, what do you mean? Like, I see you on the phone.
Right. And you still gonna tell me that's not what it is.
Like, what are you talking about? And I mean, you can really feel crazy, which is sad because that's what a narcissist wants. They want you to feel crazy. They want you to question your reality. And in the end, you feel crazy. So when you do end up acting crazy because you're lost. Your mind is so twisted.
Right. So and let me tell you, I did not know what that meant until you actually taught it to my girls. Like, I had no clue that there was a specific terminology and this was the definition of it. And I was like, man, I have definitely experienced that.
In my book, Without Bruises, I talk about how my ex took my wedding ring from my former marriage and I knew exactly where it was. I knew exactly where I put it. And he was like, I don't know where it is. And I'm like, you were the last person in my car and it's not there. Like, don't ask me why I had my old wedding ring in my car. But I know where I put it. Right. And he's like, I don't know. Have you checked your pockets? Have you checked? And like, he literally went around the house helping me look for something that he took the entire time.
Wow.
And you talk about feeling like you are bananas. Like, you know what you know. Like, I know what I know to be true. I know what I saw with my own eyes. Right. And then someone else is trying to convince you of something else. You feel crazy.
Right. Like how Kevin Hart had said, I know you see me, see you, see me. I know that happened, right? And you still gonna make me think I'm crazy? Right. Man. Yep. That is something. Okay, I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone that's joined so far. Hey, Kendra. Hey, April. Hey, brother. Hey, Trinola. Hey, Geraldine. Hey, Alicia. Hey, Nola. There's plenty. Hey, Carolyn. Just want to say hi to you all. I see you, and I'm reading the comments, and we will answer questions as well. This is some good stuff. If it's helping you, Go ahead and share with someone else because I know it'll help them too. All right.
Yes.
So we went to number 3. What is number 4?
Number 4, let's talk about this charm. A narcissist is extremely charming. And what sucks about it is, especially for a woman, is that you want someone charming, right? You want someone who is extremely kind and makes you feel like you are their whole entire world.
Right.
Who, if you're a person whose love language is gifts, like they're buying you things, and they're just making you feel special, and they say all the right things. Baby, you are my soulmate.
Yeah. You're all of it.
This is a big one. This is one thing that narcissists will say. If I could just make a guidebook. I need to put.
You need to do a coffee table book. A coffee table book.
Because it's just textbook. Like, this is what they do. I've never met a girl like you in my life.
Listen.
But that's what you want.
I've heard that exact line. That exact line.
I've never met a girl like you ever in my life. You're the one. I know you're the one. And the thing is, they say these things very early on in the relationship, which is what you really need to pay attention to. I get it. There are people who believe in love at first sight. I don't want to even knock the fact that people can't fall in love at first sight. But I'm going to tell you this. This is what my therapist told me, and I will never forget it. She said, if it seems too good to be true, it might just be.
Come on.
Pay attention. Pay attention to it. And so they're very charming. Another thing about them being charming is they're charming to other people. And when you actually start to see those bad characteristics come out,
people won't believe it.
Come out, they're still so very charming to other people that it's hard for them to even recognize when you're like, nah, that's
not who he is.
They're like, no, what are you talking about? He's the best thing since sliced bread. Like,
you know what, JJ? It makes me think about a specific instance with my ex because he was extremely charming. He called me his moon. I was his moon, and his world could not evolve without the moon being present.
That's good. That's some good stuff right there. That's some game.
What? I've never met a woman like you in my life. Like, you are beyond what my heart can even handle. Oh. Really? And I remember, I remember a specific instance. We were at the store. He was really big about opening car doors. Y'all pay attention to this. You know me, that just because you open the car door doesn't make you the perfect gentleman. Right. There's other things that go along with it. And I remember I had experienced some of the negative, and we were walking to the car, and, he, don't touch that door. I got it. He opens the door, and there's an older gentleman, and he started complimenting him. He was like, I'm so happy to see young people doing that because, people think it's crazy. They don't do that no more. Just complimenting him. And of course, and he ate it all up. And I just remember standing there and I was like, but if you only knew. And so then when we got in the vehicle, I remember him talking about the man talking about him. And I was like, just sitting there. And then he questioned why I didn't have anything to say. And I was like, well, just because you opened the car door doesn't excuse your behavior that you just treated me like when we were in the store. Like, I don't get why that's supposed to override everything. And of course, it turned into like the crash of the Titans because then, Yeah. Oh, you got something to say? That ain't nobody else ever opened no door for you before. I don't want nobody to open the door for me if they're going to act like that in the inside. I mean, come on. Right. But that's what it made me think about. It made me think about that situation when you're talking about the charm, and everyone's like, oh, it's just so sweet. Listen, it's too good to be true in the beginning. It just might.
It might be. Pay attention. Pay
Pay attention.
attention.
That's good, JJ. All right, so let's go into number 5. Thank you all that just joined on. We are talking about the 7 signs to recognize that your bae is a narcissist. And we went 1 through 4 so far. Number 1 was blaming, the blame game. Everything's your fault. Number 2 was deflecting. Number 3, that's when number 2 is all about, you're talking about your feelings, but he ain't paying no attention to that. He's going to turn into something else because he don't want to discuss what you're talking about at this moment. He or she. Let me say that. Number 3, gaslighting, making you think you absolutely crazy when you're not. And number 4, charm, being so charming, not just to you, but to others as well, to really make you think that you crazy because all of this niceness in the beginning and then it just fades away, like fades to black.
Yes.
The credits start to roll. So what's number 5?
Number 5 is triangulation. And this was a term that I just learned in my last relationship that was abusive. I've not heard of this term.
Mm-hmm.
And triangulation, an example of that could be, and I'll use one from my relationship. There's my mom she I don't know why she don't like you. I don't know. I mean, and you're thinking, I ain't done nothing to your mama. I only met your mama one time.
Right.
But I don't know. She just doesn't like you. I mean, she just doesn't feel like you can handle my anointing. She just doesn't think you're wife material, but I don't know why. I mean, I tell her you good for me. And that's an example of triangulation. So here we go with this triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got him over here and then whoever this other person is and you. And they're trying to pit you against each other. And triangulation could also look like, oh gosh, this one is what did it. People keep asking me why I'm dating you because you're so much older than me. I'm only 4 years older than you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? I'm not 85. Okay, like I don't get it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I try to tell people, you still look good for your age and all, but see,
not for your age and all. No, sir.
But how they get you to feel a certain way by using somebody else.
Yes.
And a lot of times, whatever they're saying, it might not even be true. It might be true, but it might not be true.
Right.
But it's just to get you to feel a certain way. So if I say this, it could make you jealous. If I say this, it's going to make you feel bad about yourself or make you feel like you're not worthy or make you feel depressed or sad or whatever that feeling is that they want you to feel. They use triangulation to get you to feel that way. And I had no idea what this was until I did my research. And I was like, oh, shoot, that is an actual thing.
Yeah.
Like that thing he was doing is a thing. And I had no idea. And this is so big because they use this quite often, especially when it comes to parents and friends who don't like you and don't, and creating situations that don't between you.
Right, that part. Because I was going to say a lot of that is made up. Like it hadn't even happened. The mama may have never said anything about you.
Right.
Just creating the narrative.
Just to make feel a certain way.
Right.
So triangulation. That's number 5.
Wow. Is this helping you all? Okay, I see hearts. Awesome. Yeah, this is some good stuff. Yes. Okay, number 6. Ooh. What's number 6?
They think they are so special. It's good for people to think that they're special or believe that you're special. I've always been taught that. My daddy used to tell me, you're special. I tell my daughter she's special. I tell my daughter she's not average. Okay. But when you think that you are better than everybody else, then that's a problem. And so with that being special comes entitlement.
Yes.
So wrap that all together. Special, entitled. So they might walk into an event and say, I'm sitting in the front row. Well, sir, matter of fact, you haven't even bought a ticket. So you're gonna need to buy a ticket first. But I'm sitting in the front row, me and my crew. Sir, how did you buy front row tickets? No, I didn't. They feel entitled, like they
Yes.
are entitled to whatever because they're the best
Special.
thing cooking.
The best thing, the best over it all.
Yep. So be aware of someone who maybe talks down about other people
Yes.
to make themselves feel better, right? So they feel like they are just the best. And it's really sad because when you think about how a narcissist even comes about, there's so many different layers that gets him to the point where he thinks that he is best. Either you were your parents told you were so special, you were like the golden child when you were growing up, that you really have given into that, and like you are like, I'm the best because that's what my parents told me my whole life, like on a whole different level of,
Right.
like go get them. It's like you can't do any wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And or maybe it was the opposite where
Right.
they have experienced some type of
Trauma.
abuse, or they were never good enough, or they were
Right.
told they're not worthy enough, or something happened in their lives where they felt unworthy, and so they wrapped themselves in this little cocoon to tell themselves, well, I'm great. And it's really from a place of insecurity.
Yes.
It's really from a place where they're protecting their fragile ego. So they've told themselves, like I'm unstoppable, I'm invincible, I'm great, I am like perfect.
Yeah.
I'm God's gift to the earth.
So
like, and you can recognize those people. It's not hard to recognize that.
right. And don't you think that, even because I heard you say about, they feel so special that they talk down on other people, or, they're constantly like kind of comparing themselves as if they're much greater than them. Don't they do that with their spouse as well? Because that's what I experienced. Is that true? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because, I've seen them talk about, like, maybe they're in a certain field and they see somebody else in their field who's doing great, and it's like, well, I could be better than that person.
Yeah.
I know I'm smarter than that person.
Yeah.
I'm way more talented than that person. And and it's like they feel like they should be in that person's place.
Without doing the work.
Yeah, right, right. And because it's okay for us to admire people, right? And it's even common for us to compare ourselves to other people. But when you are trying to down that person and say, I am better than that person, and what they have, I should have that. And you want to be careful with that language. Like, pay attention to that.
I think that that's really good. I thought about a specific instance that I encountered as a nonprofit owner, and I would do events for the girls. And I recall a specific instance with my ex wanting to tell me how it should be done. Okay, sir, but you don't have a nonprofit, nor have you participated in any of the events. And not saying that I wouldn't listen to, some great advice, because I'm all for that to become better. But it was in the way, you don't even know how, because, it, what you should be.
Yeah.
And then it was almost to the point of trying to make me feel, even after knowing I've been operating in this gift prior to meeting you, but making me feel as if I was unworthy to be in this role. I didn't know what I was doing. And that, like, almost to the point of, you lucked up on this. This is not this. You don't really know, because what you should be doing is, I'm like, what are you doing? And it shouldn't be a comparison amongst the two when you're in a relationship. It's about, let's make each other better. But when it's always a comparison thing, it really makes you question. And I'm like, that's the whole, you just so special.
He's so
In the
special.
wrong way.
You actually are special.
You actually are. You're so special. If you only knew. Okay. So that was number 6. They think they're so special where it's wrapped up in entitlement and they supposed to have just cuz of who they are.
Yeah.
So what's number
Yeah.
7? Woo. Some good
Number
stuff.
7, and I want everybody who is watching to please listen to me clearly. Man or woman in a relationship, there should be nobody belittling anyone.
Oof.
Belittling. And you kind of just touched on it with that. If somebody is telling you, and let me say, because I know a lot of times men are like, you always talk about men. But
No,
this is
women
actually
too.
one thing that I hear a lot of women say when a woman, and listen to me, when a woman says to a man, you ain't gonna be this, you ain't gonna be that, that's belittling.
Yes.
When you telling somebody what they can't do or what they can't become or what they're not capable of, that's belittling. When you tell somebody, you're gonna be just like your brother, you're gonna be just like your, you're gonna be just like, that. If it starts off with that, get ready.
Come on.
Belittling. If you're telling somebody they're not worthy of love. So in my book, I talk about the day I was sitting on the couch watching television with my boyfriend, and I got my head on his shoulder. It was like a good time, like, oh, finally a good time, right? Like a good moment is happening here. And out of nowhere, he says, you know, you're really lucky to be with me because nobody would want you. You didn't graduate from college. You're divorced. You're a single mom. And I just remember just being so blown away by those words. And sadly, when you hear those things enough, you could start to believe it. And I did. I took the words, and that's why I'm like, I'm so over. We ain't gonna never in life say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
So not
Scratch
true.
that.
So not true.
So not true. I don't know who
Words do
started that,
hurt.
but that's crap. So his words, they really sank deep into me to the point where I really believed it. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not good enough. And so you want to be careful with how somebody speaks to you,
right?
And how they speak to you about you,
right? That part. Yeah. Come on, JJ. Ooh, I hope y'all got that.
What's scary about the narcissist is in public they may speak highly of you,
but in private,
you are taking a beat down with words. And that is what confuses you, because you're like,
right,
told the lady,
you were just praising me, right?
Right. And then at home it's a whole different story. And that's what confused me in the last relationship. I was like, man, he prays for me day and night, but between morning and evening, the stuff between the prayers and the things that were happening and the behavior just did not match up.
Yeah.
And but that's why my brain was so twisted. I'm like, how can you be this at 8 a.m.?
Come on.
5 o'clock, you just
a whole nother person. Yeah, that's really good. Look, Samuel said noted. Yes, note that one down. That's serious. You know, I think about instances that occurred, and I remember someone questioning, you know, like, how I don't understand how you actually accepted it because you're so strong. Well, narcissists, like, they actually prey on those that are strong, those that are empaths, those that do a lot for others, and that's their go-to. If you pay attention to the people that they date, you'll see the pattern. You know,
people, and that's so important. I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people question themselves, right, after that relationship, and and they don't prey on the weak,
Right.
because and if you hear and you research narcissists, because they also call them vampires,
Mm-hmm.
because they're sucking something out of you,
Energy
right? They're
vampires.
sucking
Yes.
your energy.
Yes.
They're sucking. So you got to have something for them to want, for them to get it out of you.
Right.
So no, they want your power. They want
Mm-hmm.
your energy. They want your self-esteem. Like, because they don't have it. They want
Mm-hmm.
everything that is great about you, that they wish that
They
they had. They
had for
want to suck it
themselves.
out of you.
Yes.
And so, and that's how you end up feeling at the end of the relationship. You feel so drained. You're
Yes.
like, jeez,
Yes.
I ain't got nothing else to give. I'm done. Like, I have nothing. I feel unworthy. I can't, I don't know who the person is in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you feel so drained because
Yeah.
they sucked you dry.
Sucked you dry. I remember listening to an interview by Mary J. Blige when she was on The Breakfast Club. I don't know if you've listened to it or not. And she was talking about like overcoming like her divorce and, you know, like all of the things he was trying to take from her. And I remember them saying, but you like Mary J. Blige. Like, how in the world could you question yourself? And her reply was so perfect. She was like, I'm still human. She was like, and when you've heard these things over and over and over on a daily basis from the one that you've chosen to give your heart to, you start to believe it. No matter how great you thought you were in the past, that does not no longer exist. You start to believe what you're hearing every day. That's why it's so important for people to know how powerful words are. The Bible says it. Your tongue has the power to speak life and death. So how can words hurt? Come on. You know? So if you're constantly receiving that type of negative conversation and the belittling and, you know, all of those things on a daily basis, it literally just overconsumes you and it takes over, and that's not what you want to happen, but it does happen. It does.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, thinking about that, go ahead, JJ.
I was just going to say, and what also adds to that is when you're in a relationship with a narcissist where nobody is seeing the person that you see.
Yeah.
Overwhelms you too.
Yeah.
Because nobody believes you.
Yeah.
You feel like nobody believes you. Nobody's seeing what I see. Y'all think this person is great and wonderful. And you're like, that is overwhelming. That sucks you up, right? Like, that is so painful to feel like nobody gets it. Nobody's knowing and seeing what I'm experiencing. And that is how you know that you're in an abusive relationship, when you're like, man, I really feel bananas.
Right.
I do.
Right. Man, that's so good. So when we think about like those 7 things, I'm reading the comments. Yes, they say, hey, queens, just listening. This is good stuff. I'm reading the comments from both YouTube and Facebook, and then watch. I got to make sure I pay attention to them all. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate that. And I'm so happy to see that this is actually helping. I see a lot of like, oh, wow, this is good. Yes, come on. Speak, JJ. I love it. But, you know, thinking about that and thinking about these 7 signs, and say someone's in this situation right now, what would you give her as advice, or him as advice, in order to remove themselves from it? Because that's one of the most difficult tasks right there.
Oh, yeah. You know, when I was in therapy, my therapist talked about keeping a journal. I mean, obviously, I'm quick to tell people get out. I have somebody who is extremely close to me right now who's in an abusive relationship, coming out of it. And I know how hard it is to walk away. So, yes, I believe you should absolutely get out. But I also recognize from a person who's been there that it's not that easy, right?
Right.
So pay attention to the signs. Like, really keep a journal. That was the best advice. I was like, keep a journal. You know why? Because if you don't have something written down, you can easily question yourself. But when you see it on paper, on on this day, if I just wake up every day, today he made me feel this way, just keeping a diary. I felt like this. He said this to me. She said this. You know, she made me feel like this. She hurt me when she said, like, if you keep that, then when you get to that point where you're like, I don't know if I should leave, all you got to do is
go back.
You know what?
Live through.
Oh, no.
Right.
It's time to go.
That's good.
That's one thing. And it's interesting because I'm doing a workshop it's a free webinar on September 30th. That's called Why Can't I Leave My Abuser? Because a lot of times you just cannot, you feel like you cannot leave. And so, you know, finding that accountability partner, finding a support system, you know, that like you need to talk to somebody.
Right.
You got to talk to somebody. My father came to me and he said, you've been in an abusive relationship and you need to talk to somebody. I was like, I ain't got to talk to nobody. I am fine. He's crazy. And he's like, you need to get
help too. Oh. Right. And I think one of the biggest things too with that is that, you know, I don't know why we've created this like stigma around mental health and going to get you a therapist, going to seek help. Like someone said it, I can't recall who said it, but they was like, if you get your car tuned up every certain amount of time, why would you not want to tune up your brain? Like that's just what therapy is. That doesn't mean something's wrong with you, but you need to take care of you, right? Come on.
Yeah. It actually means something's right. If you have it in your mind, like I should probably go seek some help or I should talk to somebody, then that taking that initiative means that there's something right. Narcissists, they don't see anything wrong with themselves.
Right.
So if they go to therapy, it's either to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
It's to charm therapist to make the therapist think they are better than like you crazy. Like
right.
It's gotta be you, right?
Right.
So that's if they even go.
If they go. That's the big thing.
If they go. But more than likely, a narcissist is like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah. We don't have no problems.
They're great.
It's you.
And
get you some help and then come back and we're gonna be good.
Right.
Yes, help us. It's true though. It's true.
You got me rolling now. I'm glad you said that. Because when you first get with a narcissist, they are seeking information. And this is important to know because one of the things we fall in love with is someone who seems interested in us. Oh my God, they're so interested. They're asking me all these questions and I'm pouring everything out and I'm letting them know all of my insecurities. And they take that information to use
against
later.
You. Yes. Come on.
So don't be surprised when they say stuff like, well, you know, you need to get some help and work out your daddy issues because blah, 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 blah. Or, you know, you didn't have a dad in your life and that's why, like, they will point all
of it.
There's that deflecting. It's you. You do need to go get some help. You should go see somebody.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But
maybe something is wrong. I wasn't paying attention. You know what? You're right. I'm going to go. No, fool. He still needs to go. Even if you go. He still needs to go. Come on. Yeah. Listen, I remember going to 3 different counselors with my ex. You know, because he wouldn't go alone because I was the issue. And I know if we go together, they going to tell you. So I was like, okay, well, let's go together. He couldn't charm them, though. It was because it's like almost immediately they turned the conversation to him and wanted to suggest individual counseling. You know, we really need to do individual counseling. I see some things that need to be worked out that has nothing to do with this other person. And when they
Yeah.
said that, that was a huge trigger. Of course, the blow up happens because now, you, so you don't see what I'm telling you she is. And then, of course, he don't want to go to them no more. So got to go somebody else.
They wrong. They the wrong
Because they don't know. Because you know them. You chose them. You choose whoever you like.
Oh, man. Yep.
I remember that. And after the third time, like completely different situations, because I would leave and I'm like, okay, I ain't got time for this no more. You don't want to get help. I can't. Like, it's just not working. And then, he wants to do the charm and all about how he's working on himself, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, you've been going to counseling? No, I saw a pastor.
I read a book.
Okay.
I saw this thing on YouTube.
Listen, even for us church folk, do you really not trust the gifts that God has put into these people? Every one of us. Nothing is wrong with counseling. Nothing. Yeah. Get the help you need. And if you need someone, go ahead to my website. I life coach on specific things, just like JJ can life coach you to get some self-care that you need and overcome this narcissistic abuse. Just saying, hashtag. Yes. Put that out there.
Yeah.
But yeah. I see people saying, good message. I love this stuff. Awesome. Thank you guys. I'm so happy that it's blessing you. So yeah, I think that's really great. What else did you want to share that I didn't cover or that you didn't cover that you want to make sure people know about?
Oh yeah. I mean, I decided to get off my butt and really start helping more people in relation to this topic of healing from narcissistic abuse. So I do have a free webinar, and that's September 30th. Why can't I leave my abuser? So you can find out, even if it's not you, maybe you have somebody close to you, a friend or a family member or coworker who you care about, and you're just like, why can't they just leave this person?
Yes.
It would be beneficial for you just to have a better understanding of why it's so hard for them to leave, and then how you can show up and support those people without getting cut off, because that's what you see happen a lot. If you keep coming at people a certain way, they will shut you all the way off, and then you're nowhere to be found. And so you can find out that information on my website, jjonthemic.com. All my books are on Amazon. They're all on my website as well. Without Bruises is like, it's a Lifetime movie. And it's 1 year with one person, and you cannot even imagine. I mean, Lifetime movie, like, grab some popcorn and some tissues and a blankie, because it doesn't even make sense that one person could cause this much damage in such a short period of time. But it's just about healing. It's about how I pushed through, how I got into therapy, what those tools were that I was able to gain through therapy, and how my life changed. And and then I do my self-love coaching. I specifically help people who are either in relationships with narcissists or coming out of relationships with narcissists, and helping them to get their lives back and dive into some serious self-love, and it's been great. Yes. I've been really blessed to meet some incredible people, and they just need to know who they are and whose they are, and get it back together. They come out 5.0. I don't like people saying, get back to what you were. Like, no, you will come out
better. than. Yeah, just like it drives me crazy when people say, I just want things to get back to normal.
Look, I think we all should know right now, normal.
This is the new normal. Deal with it. No, seriously.
Learn to adjust today.
You have to learn to adjust. Don't allow this to stop your life completely. And look, I'm going to just go on my rant real quick about COVID, because it's the same thing. Like, if you think about when 9/11 happened, prior to 9/11, we were not taking off our shoes to get on a plane. We were not going through TSA the way that we do today. But then 9/11 happened. and you would complain about it, but now guess what you do? You leave the house a little bit earlier because you know you're going to be in line because you need to go through the proper channels in order to get on the plane. It's the same thing with COVID. Wear a mask. Take care of yourself. Now keep it moving.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Stay clean.
That's such a good. Yes. Yes. Oh, I'm so grateful for you, Keisha.
Oh, and I love
Did you tell that we are like really almost sisters?
Yes. Okay. So listen, let us just share our little hey friend relationship really quick. This is what's so funny. JJ and I have the same birthday. November 25th, boo boo. If y'all didn't know, now you know. Yes. And when I say it was so much that we were doing that were so parallel, I was like, what is going on? She has a girls nonprofit. I have a girls nonprofit. You know, we always encouraging people. It was so many different things. Like, I really was like, oh, hey girl, we must be cousins or something. Hey cousin. And the thing is, instead of, like most people, if I would say something like that too, they were like, oh, hi. We were speaking at we were at KIPP Academy. That's what it was for their thing that they do at the end of the year. However many years ago that was. Yes, we were there. And we found out we both had Simmons as our last name. And I was like, oh, you my play cousin. She said, hey girl, how you doing?
Yeah.
And then we have this.
And we've been cousins ever since.
Ever since. Ever since.
And we just had the same birthday, like, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago we found out we had the same birthday. I was like, oh my God, now it all makes sense. This is crazy.
We family.
Yes. And listen, by the way, let me do this little plug real quick, and it's not shameless because I'm proud of it. If you haven't gotten your tickets to join us on the retreats, we are going, to Cabo San Lucas in January. We have around like 13, 14 queens that are already signed up that are joining us. JJ is one of the amazing workshop hosts. We also have Day Edwards, who's the founder of Church Space. She's doing a workshop as well. It's going to be phenomenal. You really don't want to miss this. I still have a few spots available, so head over to the website right now. IamCoachK.com. # you know that line. Retreats. that line right there. This one, and then retreats. I'll put it in the chat. Stop laughing at me, y'all. Hey! I see people talking about, hey, girl, you silly. Yeah, well, take me as I am. But anyway, as we wrap up, JJ, can you share a specific quote, a scripture, one particular thing that helped you overcome narcissistic abuse? And maybe it's something that we can take along with us too.
Yes, I can. Genesis 50:20.
Okay. Genesis 50:20.
Might be dyslexic right now.
2050.
What you intended to use for harm, God intended to use for good. To do what's happening now, the saving of many lives. And when I think about going through narcissistic abuse and healing from narcissistic abuse, it was like, you know what? This was intended to break me down and to kill me. Like, I was at a place where I was like, I don't even want to live anymore.
Yeah.
But God had a whole plan for what was happening.
Come on.
And putting that scripture on my mirror before I even met the last narcissist I was with, it was already on my mirror. It was almost like right, like, just get ready because this is what's about to happen. Like, why all the scriptures would I write that? See what is happening now with coaching, with speaking and building out programs to help teenagers, what these mentally and abusive relationships look like. I am like, man, God has blown me away.
Yeah.
Like, what was intended to harm me, God intended it for good. Like, change the whole game. Like, oh.
Yeah.
And I think that that is important for us to know, as we heal, that there's a bigger purpose. We all are called to suffer. We will all suffer in some
In some
way
capacity, right.
or another. It's a part of getting to your purpose. And so it's good to feel, it's good to know that I am blessed by my,
Yeah.
and it's able to help bless others. So
Ooh, I love, love, love that you touched my soul with that one.
yep.
Because it's so true. It's so true. And you got to be careful what you pray for, too, because if you ask God to use you, he will use you by any means
Yep.
necessary. Any means. I done been there. She done been there. So, just be careful. But I love that because what the enemy intended for harm, God intended to use it for good.
Yes.
And it's so true. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, JJ. I truly appreciate you coming on and just enlightening us all to know what to look for in relationships, because sometimes you really don't know. You don't know how to put the name to it. And now being able to hear these different terms and recognizing that this is a real thing, you can go and reflect, and maybe you are in it or you know someone in it, and then you can help either yourself or that other person go toward the path of healing so they don't suffer any longer in that situation. So I truly appreciate you. I appreciate your transparency and sharing your story. And I want you all to go ahead and support her. Make sure that you go on her website because, like she said, she has a free webinar at the end of the month. You don't want to miss it. It's definitely something that can help you or someone else. So make sure that you share. Thank you so much, JJ, my sister, cousin.
My sister cousin. I love you, girl.
I love you too. I love you too. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate you all. I see all your comments and I'm going to go back and make sure I answer them all. A lot of it was just like agreeing because I do try to make sure that there's not a question mark, because if we need to answer it, I like to answer it at the moment. But thank you. I truly appreciate your support. Come back next Thursday for some more Queen Talk. We see y'all soon. Bye.